Welcome to another episode of the K&A Football Podcast. I am still taking over for Caden. He is not back yet. And along with me, I have Austin Obrisky as the normal, per the usual. Well, we are slowly creeping up on the end, buddy. We are slowly creeping up on the end of the season, getting close to the conference championships. We have a lot to talk about today. Some predictions, some very weighty predictions. So yeah, should be a good episode. This is K&A Football. How are you, Austin? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's been the coldest that it's ever been down here. Like I was talking to you beforehand about like delays for school and stuff. Like you said that your campus closed.
Yep, Kent State made the news.
Kent State in the news because they wanted you to freeze instead of miss class. So shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
We only got a 3-hour delay on our day, so our day started at 11. It was -16 regular temperature here. That's excluding the wind chill and everything like that. And if you've ever been in southwestern Ohio, you know that the wind blows at about 17 miles an hour constantly. So it was definitely colder than -16. And they still made us walk around. So that was great. Fortunately, though, today it's 24 degrees right now, so it's warmer. So those, -32 with wind chill days down here makes 24 feel like summer. So I was walking around with my coat unzipped a little bit today because it's like, man, it's a little bit warmer than it used to be.
Ooh. Little unzip action.
I know.
Got the break the shorts out again.
I know.
That's crazy. Well, you want to get to the big news over the weekend, Austin?
Of course. Well, obviously, we are, in fact, a football podcast. We talk about football on this podcast.
Yeah.
That's a football podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And on this podcast that talks about football, a football podcast, we are obsessed with all things football. We talk about the NFL because that's, easy to follow. There's only 32 teams. There's only so many players. It's the best of the best. NFL, obviously, in my opinion, the best sports league in the world. But I am an avid fan of all football, especially teams from Ohio, especially the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's right, folks. The Ohio State Buckeyes, as everyone knows, are national champions once again. Ohio State beat Notre Dame. I emphasize beat Notre Dame in the first ever 12-team playoff. Was super thrilled about that. Watched that game with a bunch of friends. It's a good time. Every touchdown we went crazy, and there were a lot of touchdowns to celebrate. Notre Dame made it a little bit of a game there towards the end, which got my heart racing a little bit. I would have preferred beating them 52-0. I'm always a big fan of that.
That's what you want, though. You want a little action.
I mean, you want a little action.
On the edge of your seat a little bit.
I'd rather just enjoy watching them throw 80-yard bombs to Jeremiah Smith over and over and over again.
Sure.
Kind of like that Tennessee game or that Oregon game. But it was entertaining. Loved watching the Buckeyes win. Obviously, everyone, haters going to hate. They're going to be like, oh, coincidence that Ohio State, the first year that you can pay players legally, wins. Like, okay, well, it's better than being Alabama where they win, where you can't pay players legally because you already know they were paying players illegally. Or like last year's national champion, we weren't stealing signs from anyone. So we followed the rules that are given. We won the national championship, and there's nothing you losers can do about it. And Ryan Day saves his job, much to the chagrin of the haters.
Yeah.
All right. So now, right before we jump into our NFL news after our brief Ohio State glaze, which you will be hearing
continuously.
all year next year as well. Every time I get the chance, we have to break down the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and coming from there, we have our top 3 plays of the week as always. So our first play of the week is going to come from the Buffalo Ravens game. This was a tight game, really fun game, came down to the wire. We'll talk about that as we go. But this particular play comes from the man, the myth, the legend. Legends never die, Damar Hamlin. He goes ahead and forces the fumble on a high snap from Lamar Jackson, where then Von Miller is able to pick it up and return it a hefty amount of yards, all the way down to about the 20-yard line. Obviously, as you see here, if you're watching, you'll see that it's early in the second quarter here. Game is still tied 7-7. The Ravens were in a good position to score, and then that forced fumble from Damar Hamlin switches the tables. Now, instead of the Ravens being on the Bills 30, the Bills are now on the Ravens 20 in position to score. So that was a big, big play in this game. Next up, we have from the Lions-Commanders game. This was another awesome game. I think, like I predicted, absolute firefight. We had, no defense played in this game whatsoever, but this play in particular was specifically no defense. Yeah, Jaden Daniels about the 41-yard line, bubble screen to Terry McLaurin, who splits 2 defenders, foot race down the sideline, stiff arms a man, falls into the end zone to put the Commanders up 17-14. So that's obviously super big. Look at it. It's the 2 guys.
Yeah.
Movie there. Number 31, he can't get that. He can't get home either. Terry, he's built different, man. I'm rooting for him all the way because he is on my dynasty team. So even though the fantasy playoffs and fantasy football is over, very unfortunate. I still root for my fantasy players because for them all year. So it's tough to break that bond,
Right.
He doesn't get it because Debbie doesn't win fantasy.
Okay. I almost lost the toilet bowl in the 32-man league. So, yeah. I almost won the loser game by losing, but I didn't. So
by losing.
Still lost that.
Debbie's so good at losing, you can't even lose the losses.
Oh, it's so bad.
All right, moving on from that, our third play of the week, and probably the biggest play, I guess, is coming from the Rams-Eagles game. This game ended up being a lot of fun. Obviously, we knew that the Rams coming into this game were a hot team, and the Eagles are obviously one of the best teams in football. Game started out very green, shall we say, and towards the end, we got the nostalgic snow football game that we all know and love. So, Dave, let's go ahead and see this clip. We have
both the games on Sunday were played in snow. Snow.
Eagles on their own 20-yard line. Saquon Barkley breaks it outside, takes it all the way. You see the computer-generated yard lines on there because the real ones are covered in snow. Takes it, I think it was 78 yards to the house to put the Eagles up 28-15. Very big there. All right, that does it for our top 3 plays of the week. In case you guys couldn't have guessed, this is going to be a shorter episode because we only have like a handful of games to break down here. Only 4 games, so we will do our best to stretch it out as much as we can, as we tend to do, but definitely be shorter. So the first game that we have to break down is the Texans and Chiefs. As everyone knows, the Chiefs ended up winning this game 23-14, like I said earlier. CJ Stroud had a decent day. He had 245 yards passing. He had a 67% completion rate. Joe Mixon had 88 yards rushing and a touchdown. Nico Collins had 81 receiving yards. On the Chiefs side, Patrick Mahomes had a relatively quiet day, 177 yards and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt only had 44 rushing yards, and Travis Kelce had 117 yards, which remember Patrick Mahomes only had 177 yards. Travis Kelce had obviously the vast majority of that with 117 yards and a touchdown. Big story in this game is, I mean, as always, people are going to be upset when you play the Chiefs because everyone believes that the referees are on the side of the Chiefs. Is this potentially true? Potentially, as everyone online is pointing out, though, not too long ago, now we're all upset about the Chiefs and how much the Chiefs win. First off, as everyone knows, I'm not a big fan of the referees, rig the game type rhetoric. You have enough opportunities on your own. If you're losing because of the referees, that is on you. You need to make the plays when it matters most. The referees are a part of the game too. And also it takes away from like what the Texans have done too. Like if you really want to diminish it all the way down to like, oh, it's just the referees. Like I feel like that kind of takes away from the achievement that the Texans have had this season. And obviously everyone online is pointing out how quickly we've moved from, the rigged calls against or for the Patriots, how annoying this is. Everyone's rooting for the Chiefs because they're the up and coming team. Now we're talking about, the Chiefs are the bad guy that gets all the calls, and we need to let the little guy have a chance or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, Chiefs win 23-14. They move on to their 7th straight AFC Championship game. That is insane.
We got to play the clip, though.
All right, go ahead, play the clip.
We can't go without playing the clip, yeah.
You got a clip?
Yeah, I got to load it up. You already know. Running. Oh, man.
Like they almost killed him, Keegan. Or Debbie, sorry. They almost killed him. They almost killed him.
Oh, man. Those are bad guys.
To be fair,
it's such a
just so everyone is clear, they did not call a penalty on that. Just so everyone's clear, there was no penalty called on that. Clearly trying to draw the penalty, which, to be fair, wouldn't we all? If we think the penalty is going to be called, of course,
it's on the quarterback. Of course.
So of course he's going to try for it, which I understand.
I saw a not a compilation, but I saw a video of like Tom Brady getting hit hard or whatever, and then he stands back up, and then they were like played that against like Patrick Mahomes, and it was like, okay, well, yeah, it is playing exactly to what you were saying of like we all were seeing the same accusation against the Chiefs, and now it's just kind of switch over to against the Patriots. Now it's switch over to the Chiefs just because they're the favorite team and everything. But yeah, is what it is.
Is what it is, and kudos to the Texans for doing what they did. I mean, no one thought that they were going to win last week against the Chargers. I certainly didn't. Then they came out and surprised everyone, playing very, very well. Yeah. Obviously kept this one very close against the Chiefs, 14-23. It's a very close 2-score game. Mm-hmm. So, props to their season. Props to DeMeco Ryans for everything that he's done with that team, and CJ Stroud for. He didn't have the most productive year in the world compared to last year, but he did enough to get his team as far as they could.
Boy, oh boy, I can't wait to this game this week, but we'll have to get to that then. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it'll be fun. All right, the next one I have here is the Commanders and Lions. Commanders win 45-31. Jaden Daniels had 299 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. Brian Robinson had 77 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. And De'Ami Brown had 98 receiving yards for the Commanders. On the Lions side of the ball, Jared Goff had 313 yards through the air, 1 touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs had 105 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 137 yards. You can see why this was a firefight. Like, this was fantastic. But the thing that is going to kill you every single time is Jared Goff threw 3 interceptions in this game. He threw 3 picks in this game, and I believe they had a fumble or 2 in there as well. So the turnovers, like, that's really what's going to kill you at the end of the day here. If you can't take care of the ball, it doesn't matter how good of a season you've had. I mean, the Lions were the number 1 seed. They're the favored team in the NFC for sure. But you can get knocked off by a rookie quarterback, and the Commanders just kind of having fun with the year because you weren't careful with the football. So at the end of the day, that's what killed the Lions. But a really, really awesome game. I mean, it started off in the first quarter, Detroit scored 7. Washington 3. In the second quarter, Washington scored 28 in the second quarter. In one quarter, they scored 28 points. Detroit scored 14. Washington went scoreless in the third. Detroit scored 7. In the fourth quarter, Detroit only scored 3 and Washington scored 14. It was awesome. Great game to watch. Like I said, no defense being played whatsoever, except for, obviously, those interceptions that Jared Goff had to deal with. So, great year from the Lions. Really looking forward to seeing them next year. I mean, they were great last year. They're great this year. Hoping they can replicate the success again. But obviously, you have guys that leave. You have contracts that are different. Ben Johnson is going to be the head coach for the Bears. I believe the Lions defensive coordinator is also looking at jobs. So you have to rebuild on your coordinator positions. So we'll see how it all plays out for the Lions. I hope this isn't the end of their success. I believe that their Super Bowl window is good for at least another 2, maybe 3 years. But with these coordinator switches, obviously a lot of questions are up in the air there. Then obviously the Commanders are on to the NFC Championship game. Really big for them. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is, like, if he wasn't already a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year, he certainly is now. Taking your team all the way to the conference championship game in your first year, I mean, that's Brock Purdy stuff right there. So hopefully they can perform well. Sorry, Debbie. I hope that the Commanders beat the Eagles. That would be awesome. That would be, I mean, it's not that I don't like the Eagles. I just don't really like the Eagles all that much. But like a Commanders Super Bowl would be insane after selling the team 2 years ago to go from one of the worst, most poverty franchises in the NFL to going to a Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback would be insanity.
To quote Caden, Commanders and Bills Super Bowl would feed families.
It would, in fact, feed families.
I love that quote so much.
I'm pretty sure if they went to the Super Bowl, world hunger would end.
Totally.
That's how that
is. Yeah, totally.
Speaking of your beloved Eagles, Debbie, the Rams-Eagles, they played as well. The Rams coming into this game ultra hot. Definitely the hottest team coming into the playoffs, but they could not get the job done. They lose 28-22 with obviously Saquon Barkley going insano mode. On the Eagles side of the ball, Jalen Hurts only had 128 yards through the air. Very, very quiet day for him, but you don't need to do all that when Saquon Barkley goes 205 for 2 touchdowns. I mean, what more can you ask for? That's what you need out of your running back. Matthew Stafford had 324 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. Karen Williams had 106 yards on the ground. Puka Nacua was their leading receiver with 97 yards. Obviously, it wasn't enough. Eagles take care of business. Saquon Barkley specifically take care of business. They win 28-22. Biggest storyline coming out of this game. Apparently, a number of weeks ago, Matthew Stafford fractured a couple of his ribs. No one knew about it. He kept playing. And then he got hit and like re-aggravated the fracture in some way during this game. Still managed to put up 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, even though they lost, you really cannot ask for anything more out of your quarterback. Matthew Stafford is one of the toughest guys in the league. So obviously he's going to be playing through that for you. But, at the end of the day, you give it everything you have. But when your best player, Matthew Stafford's fighting through something like that, and the Eagles all around are relatively healthy, and they got Saquon Barkley, there's not much you can do about that. Debbie, you got any thoughts on this game? Your beloved Eagles?
Not really. I only saw the tail end of this game, and I mean, I'm sure it was a really interesting game to watch. It seemed pretty tit for tat until the end. So, yeah, go Birds.
That's what they say.
That is what they say.
All right, and then our last game that we're going to break down for you is the Ravens and Bills. This was a awesome game. Went super close there. I'll just go quarter by quarter. In the first quarter, both teams score 7. Second quarter, Baltimore scores 3. Buffalo scores 14. Quarter 3, Baltimore scores 9. Buffalo goes scoreless. Quarter 4, they both go 6. At the end of the game here, the Ravens go down. They get a touchdown with about a minute and a half left on the clock. All they need is a 2-point conversion to tie this thing up, potentially force it to overtime. Drop a beautiful play. Mark Andrews right by the pylon. Toss it to him. He's fallen into the end zone. Hits him right in the chest. Oh, my goodness. Hits him right in the chest. Like, yeah, Debbie, see if you can find that thing. I mean, obviously everyone knows the outcome of this because clearly they did not tie it up because they're down by 2 at the scoreboard here. But just hits Mark Andrews right in the chest, literally in both of his hands. I seriously do not know how he did not hang on to that. And then it just pops right out. Almost, I mean, when you play it in slow motion, it's almost like that man threw it away because it was so right there. Did not catch it, could not hang on. Bills wind up winning 27-25. Lamar Jackson probably deserves the MVP, so we'll see what happens. I think the voting is happening now-ish. Votes are being cast already. Lamar Jackson in this game went 254 through the air, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Derrick Henry, 84 yards and a touchdown. Isaiah Likely was the leading receiver with 4 receptions on 73 yards and a touchdown. The Bills side, Josh Allen, quiet day, 127 yards through the air. James Cook, 67 yards on the ground. Khalil Shakir had 67 yards through the air. So not a whole bunch. Yeah, here we go. Just hits him right there. He hits his hands, pulls into his chest, and somehow it falls out.
So unfortunate.
It's so unfortunate.
There was another pass that happened very early in the game. I forget which team it was to, but the same thing happened. Like just wide open pass.
I think it was to Mark Andrews again. Like
oh, really was it?
I remember the one that you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Great shot there.
I mean, that's just so unfortunate. Like this,
it really is.
I mean, obviously, like everyone at this point knows, like I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, so I was hanging on to that pick.
Yeah, totally. And it was down to the line. I mean,
yeah,
a minute 33 on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
That was insane.
Yeah. So obviously, really, really unfortunate for the Ravens, but good season out of them. You know, obviously, you want more. You know, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry is a deadly duo on offense. As long as Derrick Henry can keep his productivity up, look for them to be a really, really viable force in the AFC. Great season out of them. Lamar Jackson deserves the MVP, unlike last year. The Bills, for their part, obviously they do enough, and that's all you need sometimes. So they will go play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Obviously, they have been dreaming of this for years at this point. They want to get back. They're hungry. They want to go to a Super Bowl. They want to try to win. So, speaking of that, Debbie, do you want to talk about the conference championship games coming up here?
Yes, I would. But first, we have to give a little shout out to our sponsors over at K&F Construction. K&F Construction has been serving the Northeast Ohio community for 20 years, specializing in composite decks. K&F Construction takes the time and effort to provide the service and product you deserve for your home. You can call K&F Construction today at 330-575-2465 for a free estimate. Again, that's 330-575-2465. You can also visit knfdecks.com, which is linked in the description. K&F Construction, let us build your dream backyard. All right. So yeah, let's transition. First up, we got a game that I would be most certainly watching both these games. I know I said it last weekend, and then I proceeded to make a random trip to Columbus, and so I didn't watch it. But I did actually watch it on the way home. So yeah, I was driving. So anyways, AFC, Bills and Chiefs. Huge game. It brings back memories of which year was it that they faced off?
No, I don't remember what year it was. 20. Don't quote me on it, but I want to say 22 or 23 was that one.
Week 11 of the 2024 season. That was we're talking about playoffs. Come on, Google AI, get better. But anyways, brings back a lot of memories of that game and how that went with Patrick Mahomes. We've all seen the clips floating around Instagram and social media of, the last game they played, Patrick Mahomes being upset about calls not being, or certain, things not being called, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. I think this will be a very interesting game. I think Josh Allen's back for revenge, and it would be incredible if they won. I think I'm cheering for them to win. I think most people are cheering for them to win, besides Chiefs fans, obviously, or people that want to see the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, which can't be many more than just the Chiefs fans themselves. But I mean, my pick is going to be the Bills. I think it would be just a crazy redemptive arc for them if they were able to beat out the Chiefs and second to last game of the season. So.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, this is going to be an awesome game. I mean, regardless of how you slice it, this is going to be a real nail biter, as the kids say. Hopefully, this is just a really entertaining game. Comes down to the wire. Obviously, that we had that one playoff game years ago.
2020 AFC Championship. Kansas City Chiefs won 38, Bills 24.
Yeah, we had that insane Chiefs, only need 13 seconds to go down and tie the game, then win in overtime off the coin toss. And the Bills have been hungry ever since then to get back to this point.
Right.
So this is going to be an awesome game. Look, whether the Bills win or the Chiefs win is fine by me. Obviously, I'm not rooting for either team necessarily. I do think it would be cool. I apologize to everyone. I think it would be cool if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs won another Super Bowl. To three-peat would be insane. Patrick Mahomes winning another Super Bowl, you have to revisit and seriously talk about those GOAT conversations at that point. To win this many Super Bowls in this amount of time would be insane. Even with the season they've had, to get to this point is ridiculous. So I'm sorry to everyone who doesn't like the Chiefs. I constantly find myself rooting for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes because I just think it would be so cool to pull something like this off. To go from Tom Brady immediately to Patrick Mahomes is just such a cool thing.
I think we need to revisit your contract, Austin. I thought we were paying you enough, but clearly somebody else is outdoing our pay because goodness.
The end of the day.
Please continue.
I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win this game. Back-to-back Super Bowl champions. I'm not going to pick against them in their biggest game of the year so far. I'm not going to pick against AFC Championship Patrick Mahomes. Just like you wouldn't pick against AFC Championship Tom Brady. So I'm going to take the Chiefs here. Just hoping for a good game. I really don't care if the Chiefs lose. I'm not going to lose sleep over if they lose. I'm not rooting for them. I think it'd be cool.
Just a little bit less.
I think it'd be cool. But obviously, the Bills making it to a Super Bowl, Josh Allen to have that chance would be awesome as well. If Josh Allen were to win that Super Bowl, obviously, he would surpass Burrow and Jackson in terms of that. Who's that next quarterback that's up here? Obviously, we have Mahomes at the top, but who's that second guy kind of running for those three guys? But if Allen can win a Super Bowl here, that's huge for him. That's huge for his career. So see what happens with that.
Yeah. All right. You want to announce the next one up there, Austin?
Next thing we got here is Debbie's Eagles hosting the Commanders.
I should have introduced the last one as Austin's Chiefs.
No. I am a Browns fan, as you can see behind me. This is going to be an awesome game. I mean, you have a divisional game. That's always exciting when you have it as the championship game. I mean, these teams have already played each other twice this year. I think they each have one win apiece in that matchup. So super exciting to see what's going to happen here. Obviously, the Eagles looking to get back after losing to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. This time they have a revamped team. They look like the best Eagles team that we've seen in forever, really. Now, obviously, on the Commander side, we have Jaden Daniels having the rookie season of a lifetime. I mean, if he wins this game and makes it to the Super Bowl, if he were to somehow manage to win the Super Bowl, that would go down as the best rookie season that a quarterback or a player in general has ever had. So that'd be special to see for sure. Saquon Barkley, obviously, if he were to be able to win the Super Bowl, to be able to switch teams and in his first year go ahead and win a Super Bowl would be it would be a knife in the chest of the Giants organization for letting him walk. So
it already is.
I mean, it is. That's as much as I would like for the Commanders to win this game, like in the last game, I didn't have anyone I was rooting for. In this one, I am rooting for the Commanders 110%. It would be awesome. Totally want that, and it has to do a little bit with the fact that I'm not a huge Eagles supporter. But it would just be really cool to see Jay Daniels be able to pull that off. And I think that once he gets to the Super Bowl, he can be that dog. But I am going to pick the Eagles to win this game. I think they are the better team. They are more experienced. They are a little bit more poised. So I'm going to go with the Eagles in the big game.
I think that's fair. Obviously, I'm picking the Eagles. I mean, who could have guessed? But I think what you said is very true. I mean, excuse me. I think this is very true. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if the Chiefs lost. That's all I'm hoping for. Obviously, I want the Eagles to win, but the redemption arc again for the Commanders, insane. Jaden Daniels' career, insane. Just a few stats. The Eagles did defeat the Commanders 26-18, week 11. And right now the Eagles are favored. Are the favorite on the betting markets, which we do not condone betting. Hang on here. But that being said, I think it'll be a very, very good game. And obviously, I mean, big implications for whoever wins this game and goes into the Super Bowl for both teams. Like you said, Saquon Barkley for the Eagles, Jay Daniels for Commanders. And also, I mean, I think even another feather in the hat of Hurts as just being, I don't know if there's much, I mean, there was some doubt, I think, this year about how good he has been playing. He had a little bit of a dip in the middle of the season there where people were like, is he legit? And I think it'd be kind of clinch the whole season off if he was able to win the Super Bowl, or at least get into the Super Bowl. So I think that's a good analysis from both of us.
Yeah. Should be an exciting conference championship weekend, to say the least.
For sure.
Really looking forward to these games. Obviously, we at this point have the 4 best teams.
Do you know where they're being held?
The NFC Championship game is at the Eagles Stadium, and the AFC is at the Chiefs Stadium.
Because I'm wondering how cold that's going to be.
Cold is the answer.
Okay, it doesn't sound that bad. AccuWeather says the real feel is like 23 right now, I believe. So I don't know exactly how it's going to be, but I mean, it's heated, so it should be that big of an issue. But it'll be really good.
Yeah,
you gonna watch it with some friends?
Probably. I unfortunately for the Bills, Chiefs won. I have a meeting for a missions trip that I'm going on for the first hour of the game, which kind of sucks.
That's fine.
But okay, I'll catch most of the game, which is fine. Yeah. I'll probably miss like the first quarter, but I'll catch the rest of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
do you have anything else?
Nope, I don't have anything else. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right.
A shorter episode for sure.
For sure. Definitely going in the record books as one of our shortest episodes.
Yeah, that's true. Awesome.
Well,
go ahead.
Wrap it up, Debbie.
All right. Well, it'll be quite the weekend for sure. It's been a long season. Been a good season. Excited to see who it comes down to. But as always, we'll be here bringing you guys the latest news next week and making our final Super Bowl picks, giving you the final analysis. And then after that, we'll even give I'm sure we'll do some season analysis of just kind of looking back and or reviewing some records and things like that. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.